Hey, hello everybody. Welcome back to Wellness Wednesday. All right, so I hope you have a nice warm beverage or the beverage of your choice on hand. As I've been saying for a little while, I love my office here at my house. It's exactly the way I want it to be, but I do miss having y'all come into my offices. So for a long time, I had offices in downtown Bozeman over the years, and y'all would come in. I'd make you a cup of tea. We'd sit down and chat. I'd get you on my healing table. I'd do my woo-woo chakra work and check in on your energy field and all of this stuff that I really enjoy doing for y'all, and then send you on your way with hopefully some great advice or some flower essences or an essential oil blend that is just for you. And I really, really enjoy that, and it's coming back for sure. I will be opening up my home office here to have y'all come on back in. When it's time, I will let you know, and I'm really looking forward to it, getting some physical hands on. For those of you who have been working with me remotely over the past year, we do things either over Zoom or over the phone, or I'm also doing energy work for you. I don't have to be in the same room with you to be able to do the energy work, although it's a little bit juicier and so much nicer when we can see each other face to face. So at least we're here now on, just a little quick Zoomer, and I can share some great info with you. And that's what I hope to do on every Wellness Wednesday. I really take Wednesdays to be my day to, as I was just making some tea and checking out, what's on my agenda for the day besides being ready for Wellness Wednesday. It's like, okay, I've got to reset everything. I've got to reset my menu plan. I've got to reset my exercise plan. I've got to reset my thinking for, what's going to be happening the next 3-4 days. So I like to do that kind of twice a week. Sundays and Wednesdays seem to be a good time for me in my schedule to accomplish that, and to just really sit back and stop reacting and putting out fires everywhere, and just always going, 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 as my auntie would say, going, going, going. And I'm like, you're 85, that's great, but you don't have to. I think you earned a little rest. But to stop and reassess things, focus, pull your energy back, catch up on a few things, get ahead on a couple of things. I was really happy yesterday when I was able to get ahead on some, digital paperwork, and really feel like when it's time for that work to be, shared with all of you, I'm ready for it. I don't have to scramble after it. And I hope that is how you try to get through your week, at least by realizing that you can't always be scrambling after everything. So we're going to tackle the meal plan portion of your daily routine today. And next week, I'm going to talk more about how to get that schedule a little bit more tuned in so that you're actually, being efficient. Not just in the kitchen, but being efficient in the rest of your life, so that you're not chasing other people's dreams rather than your own. You know what I'm talking about? All right, so grab a nice warm beverage, and I'm going to tell you my best way that I have been doing the kitchen prep work for, I don't know, 15 plus years. So I used to be, oh gosh, this is almost 20 years ago now. Oh, break my heart. 20 years ago, I started working for one family here locally, and I started off as one of their tutors in their homeschool, and I expanded that job title into not just tutoring for one student for one subject, but different subjects for all of the students. There was only 4 students in this family. It was a very special family, very, very special. They're still near and dear to me. And I also would cook for them. So I would cook breakfast, lunch, snack. Well, snack's not really a cooking thing, unless I would bake every Friday. I would bake them healthy treats every Friday. So breakfast, lunch, snack, and fresh vegetable fruit juices every day from scratch. I made them soups every week, one soup every week. I made them gourmet sandwiches. I made them burritos, just really, they probably had a more sophisticated palate than what my cooking skills allowed at the time. But I was fortunate. They were really great eaters and rarely complained about my cooking skills. But what I was able to develop was a system and a plan for getting meal prep done for 6 people. So it was the 4 students, their mom, and myself, and we would all gather every day at lunch and talk about current events, and we would have lunch and and they would go about their studies. And by the way, all these kids either went to some kind of Ivy League school, Juilliard, or beyond. They're all in their, mid-20s now, and or older. Oh my goodness, I can't even believe it. And it was a fantastic part of my work life, but I was really able to figure out a plan on how to feed 6 people 5 days a week on, I can't believe what my budget was. I had no budget. I really could have spent as much money as I wanted to for them. She never, ever gave me any kind of budgetary guidelines. It was more like, here are the foods that the kids enjoy. You create some meals. Here's the checkbook. Go to the co-op. Take care of it. And I did for 6 years. I taught individual lessons during the day, and I also did all of those meals every day. All the shopping, all the planning, all the prepping, all the cleaning, the serving, the eating, the everything. I did that. That alone was a full-time job. And I also taught each of the students individually during the school week as well, multiple classes per week in multiple subjects. How the hell did I do that, right? I don't know. It was a bit intense, but it was amazing. It really was. And out of it, I developed my grab and go meal prep routine. So I'm going to share that with you today. I developed this while I was at that job so that I could run that school kitchen efficiently. It really was a homeschool, but it wasn't in their home. It was a separate residence that they had for their school, and then they lived up in the mountains somewhere. So yes, very special situation. I was incredibly blessed, and I'm going to share what I learned and what I continue to use to this day in my own kitchen. And in between and before, I have had many food service, not just food service, but wait staff, all kinds of jobs where I am involved in kitchen prep and efficiency. And not just that, I love to eat, and I'm not going to eat anything that is, I don't know, canned, gross. It can be a little bit unhealthy, but not all the time. I really, I know, and I can feel when I have executed my meal plan. So today it's just in my home, my husband and myself, and I cook him a hot breakfast every morning and send him off to work. I stay home to work generally, as my home office indicates. And so I have meals here quite a bit, just myself for lunches. And then also dinners in the evening. We rarely go out, especially over the last year where we all have kind of, pulled in everything and stayed home a bit more and been cooking so much. And I love it. I mean, it wasn't an adjustment for me to have to, prep a little bit more and rely a little bit more on my own pantry and my freezer. And I'm going to show you how I get that done in one shot today. So let's get started with today's Wellness Wednesday. And let me put the screen up for you. Here we go. All right. And I encourage you to reach out to me at any time if you have questions about something, or if you want to share how you do your meal prep, or if you have ideas for in the kitchen. I'm always open to everything. And always, everything that I share with you that I do that works for me, or that I've shared with others, might not work for you. And that's okay. The idea is to take great information and then make it your own and make it work for you. So just like I do Sundays and Wednesdays where I sort of reassess and restock and prep everything again, for you that might be Tuesday and a Friday. It might not be the same that I say, but you need to make it work for you. All right, so let's get going with the ultimate grab and go meal prep routine. This is, one of my most enjoyable things is getting to work in my kitchen. I just love it. And kitchens are magic. So if you've been dreading, the meal prep, if you're like some people I know, they don't like to cook or anything. Well, we're going to solve those problems today to get you to actually enjoy the meal prep. So first up, you need to check your calendar. You need to, before you even decide what's for dinner, you need to take a look at your calendar. Look at the next 3 to 4 days and figure out, where is our family going to be? Who needs what types of food when? Are there late nights so that, somebody won't be home? Do you need extra snacks? I really find that it's super easy for me to handle a week-long menu if I break it up into dedicated days of the week. So for us, Mondays, we have grilled chicken and sweet potatoes and quinoa. Tuesdays, Mexican night. Last night I had Mexican with my brother. Wednesdays, maybe you make a big pot of soup and it lasts you into the weekend. Or on Wednesdays, sometimes I do like comfort food, like macaroni and cheese. Thursdays, for us, sometimes I want to do Chinese, but actually Thursdays has been working out for us in our house more as gourmet sandwich night. So I don't have to really do a whole lot of prep. And I've moved the Asian meal to Saturdays because it's easier for me. You got to, think about it and switch things up a little bit. For us, Friday, I should just say pizza night because it's not really Italian night. It's pizza night. And my husband and I make pizza every Friday night. So also, it's okay to have cereal for dinner every once in a while or grilled cheese and tomato soup out of the can. Who cares? Get it done. Get it on the table, get it cleaned up, get on with the next thing. Mealtime shouldn't dominate your evening. I hear a lot of women say that, by the time I get home and I cook something for dinner, it's already time for bed. And it's like, let's hone that in. Let's figure out a way that we're not spending so much time in the kitchen on those precious evenings where you have very little time to spend with your family. So after you take a look at the calendar and you know what your needs are, your time management needs for the week, then I want you to look at, okay, what's the menu going to be? Fill in and actually write out. It's not just Mexican night. What kind of Mexican are you having tonight? Are you having enchiladas? Are you having quesadillas? Like, what is it? And yes, I love to consider what's in season. I love going to the farmers markets. I love getting fresh produce that, you don't see very often. It pops up new at the grocery store and you're like, ooh, I'm going to get some of those. What can I do with those? That's fine. But definitely keep it simple. You do not have to come up with something gourmet every day of the week. I also focus on smoothies and salads. And I prep smoothies 4 or 5 batches, 4 or 5 servings at a time for both me and my hubby. Pop them in the fridge or freezer. I keep a big salad bar ready to go inside the fridge so that I can just whip out a salad and put that into a to-go container, or I have them already done. Also want you to think about, pick 2 dinners out of the next 3 or 4 days that are, I want to go back to that, sorry. Pick 2 dinners that are easy to make, and then maybe you have 1 dinner that is a little more of a challenge or a little more special or takes just a little more time, but it's worth it. And then weekly, make 1 crock pot or 1 no-cook meal so that you can, who said what? She was so busy and she thought she was getting ahead. And this was just last week, one of my clients said, yeah, and I put everything in the crock pot and then I didn't plug it in and I left. And it's like, slow down and really, if someone were paying you to get that crock pot on, you'd probably remember to plug it in because you prioritize that over being distracted by, the kids or whatever you've got going on. a no-cook meal. What is that? So maybe that's cereal. Maybe it's charcuterie. Maybe it's, some meat and cheese on a platter with some crackers and some grapes. Ta-da, done. I know lots of my gourmet moms who do that. And it's satisfying, it's delicious, it's enough. Okay? I am not asking you to make a Pinterest-worthy meal every night. That's bullshit. And also what's bullshit is thinking that you have to come home and cook from scratch and put it on the table and have this ultimate healthy meal every night. No, that we've been hoodwinked, ladies. You cannot take care of kids and work all day and come home and then start cooking. We're not doing it that way, and I'm going to help you with that. And then also weekly, I want you to double one dinner. So if I'm making, what would I make that I would double up? Lasagna. Instead of just going through the trouble of making one lasagna, I make two. It doesn't take that much longer. And then you freeze one and the cleanup is done. And all you have to do is pop that lasagna in the freezer. And they're so much better. A homemade lasagna is so much better than anything you would buy in the freezer section. Please don't buy those frozen meals. And once you get into this routine of having a few things prepped ahead of time, having a few things where you can grab and go out of your fridge, like a salad in a mason jar or something like that, or have something that you can pull out of the freezer. I don't have 5 nights of freezer meals in there, but I do have 2 or 3. And when it's time where it's just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing tonight, I got off track, I can pull something out and be done. Are you with me? It does take a little prep ahead of time. It takes a little planning. All right, next up, make the grocery list. So take a look at that menu that you made for the next 3 or 4 days. This is a huge mistake I see so many women making is they just swing by the store. I don't know what I'm doing for dinner, so I'll just swing by the store on the way home from work. Well, no wonder you hate groceries or you hate meal prep. It's because you're always flying by the seat of your pants or finding that you're in the to-go line, at the drive-through. That's not what we want to do. I want you to be able to plan out so that you only go to the grocery store twice a week max. I only go to the grocery store once a week. And I went twice a week when I was doing food prep for those kiddos and stuff. I probably could have just gone once a week if I was really on top of things and had overstocked everything. But I like to keep, my cupboards full, but not overflowing. So if you can get there and take, a big shop once a month, that's awesome. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So look at your pantry, look at your fridge. Write down all the ingredients you need for the next 3 or 4 days. And sometimes in my meal plan, I might just say something like pizza cheese and then get whatever I think is right. So I can still be flexible and spontaneous. I can buy in season, or I can buy something in bulk because it's a good deal. But I can still make a decent meal and be on that menu plan because I had the, Asian veggies on there. Well, what does that mean? It means anything I want it to mean for a certain Asian dish. Which Asian dish am I making? It could be, I have, once you get your recipes kind of down, what your basics are, but that doesn't mean that you should only stick to those basics. All right. And then when it's time to go shopping, I want you to upload everything into your phone app. I use a nice app on my phone, and over the years, it basically has every item I've ever shopped for stored in it, and you can just click, 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 right? So I really encourage that. Going with a list is great. Just get organized. Go in the week or early in the day. Tuesday mornings are great. For my grocery store, it's always fully stocked and no one's in there. I love it. But also, if you're at the grocery store on Friday night, what do you think is going to be in your cart versus Tuesday morning, right? And then stock up on items you use regularly. I have tons and tons of pasta, cereal, condiments, flour, sugar, pantry goods like that. Buy in bulk, do a big shop once a month. And then when you go to the grocery store, maybe you just grab some produce and some dairy and you're good to go, right? You don't have to do a larger shop every week or something. I also want you to be reading those labels. If you haven't started reading labels by now, it's 2021, it's time. If you can't pronounce it, you don't buy it. If it's artificial, it doesn't get in the cart. Shop in the, fresh produce and the whole grains and the, fresh outer edges of the grocery store, and the middle aisles are just for staples, not all the snacks and convenience foods. Those really aren't going to give you the bang for your buck or the nutrition that you're looking for. They might be convenient, but I don't think you're going to be really satisfied. Buy quality ingredients. A little bit more for a better ingredient is going to go so much farther, especially if you're not wasting your money on prepackaged foods. They're so expensive with very little nutrients. And then also bring your reusable bags to the store. Be efficient as you move through the grocery store so you're not making 10 loops through. Really, dial it in. Again, if someone were paying you and you only had a certain amount of time to get through the grocery store, it'd be a little different than if you could just wander all day, right? And no consequence. All right, step number 5, prep and store. When you get home from the grocery store, clean everything up, prep everything up for the next 3 or 4 days. Okay, so I've got my pizza veggies. I'm going to chop them all up so that they're ready in a container. And when it's time to make pizza, I just pull out that prepped veggie container of my pizza toppings and I'm ready to go. I also organize them together. Sometimes you have 3 or 4, dishes in your little meal kits. So it's like, okay, here's the marinated chicken and the Asian vegetables. And then I will pop some rice in the instant rice cooker and we're good to go. I keep them in little kits on my prep shelf in my refrigerator. I also package up little snack to go things so I can just grab something and leave the house, whether that's a salad or a smoothie or some kind of, Ziplocked, a little serving of crackers or something. You would be very surprised how long a salad lasts in a mason jar. Hard vegetables on top with a little bit of, on bottom with a little bit of dressing. So like your shredded carrots and like other dense, cabbage and other vegetables like that. Little bit of dressing on the bottom, greens on top of that, some of your tomatoes or cheese on top, and then screw on the top lid, put it in that refrigerator 4 days, absolutely. Same thing with little Gladware packs. I have my husband's lunches, which are usually leftovers. I'm gonna talk about that in a minute, all stored up in the fridge so that you don't have to think about it when it's time for a meal or when it's time to walk out the door. You take your food with you and it's fresh and it's wholesome. And you won't find yourself, the biggest thing here is I want you to have fresh meals ready to go so that you're not catching yourself in the drive-through and out and about somewhere without fresh food. All right, the next part, this part is so easy if you've done these steps before, and the steps before can be done on all in one day, right? And then when during the week you need to actually cook, you won't have to figure it out. You won't have to use up your mental willpower to actually go, well, what are we going to have? Now I got to chop veggies. Oh, I'm so tired. Let's just have cereal. You can also get the whole family involved. And if you've done a little bit of prep work, then you can get the family to help you out and you don't need to instruct them quite so much or do so much of the work while you're trying to interact with your children. You can focus on them, not so much on prep work or the food, right? And then while I'm cooking, I am always thinking about if I've got my cutting board out and I for some reason haven't prepped tomorrow's vegetables, I will prep tomorrow's vegetables too and just get that one step ahead. If you already have the mess made, why not just spend 5 more minutes, prep up those veggies and get the next step done for tomorrow? And then save the leftovers for lunches for the next day or for, however it makes sense. If you've doubled up freeze up some of them. It really does go a long way if you can take your meals and make them into, take your efforts in the kitchen and make them into multiple meals instead of putting in a ton of effort every day for every meal. Group it up. I mean, it really does add up. And then when it's time to sit down, I think this is also an overlooked step. Be grateful and eat mindfully. Take a moment and look at your plate. Offer thanks for your food. Be grateful for everybody who made this possible before you could even get to the store to get those veggies. How long of a food chain is there? How many people had to work really hard? Have you ever tried to grow a tomato out on your patio? Some of you are great gardeners, I'm sure, but you know how much work it is to get that one plant going. My husband spends so much time gardening, and some years it's fantastic, and some years it's like, wah, wah, whatever. Think about how much work that is and be thankful for it. Savor each bite. Chew slowly. Take it in. Allow your body to take in this food. Don't just gobble it up in the car. Pull over somewhere. Find a picnic bench somewhere if you're out and about. Don't just like stuff it in mindfully while you're watching TV or while you're reading on your phone. Set that stuff aside. Look somebody in the eye while you're eating with someone. Yes, you'll enjoy all of these efforts so much more if you slow down. And then another eating tip, stop when you feel satisfied, but not quite full. I think we've been kind of, taught to fill ourselves up, especially at that dinner meal. Americans, I'm not going to talk about it today, but Americans have their eating habits a little bit backwards. We eat too much at dinner and not enough during the day. That's a whole nother discussion. So hopefully our idea here is we want to be quick and efficient with our meal prep. And honestly, I write out my meal prep for an entire month. Do I follow it to the letter every day? No. Things have to move around a little bit. You got to be flexible. But what I do know is it's super easy for me to be able to wake up at this morning, it was 4:30 in the morning, woke up. I don't really get up until a little bit after 5 to start making breakfast for my husband. Breakfast is on the table by 5:30. And honestly, I only spend about 10 minutes making a hot breakfast for him. Rarely does he get cereal, but sometimes if he does get cereal, there's special fruit salad or something else. It's not just cereal. I try not to phone it in too much for him, but I wake up at 5 in the morning and I don't have to think about it. I don't have to be like, oh my God, this is so hard. What am I going to make? It's basically makes itself. I just have to get into the kitchen for 10 minutes, do my little routine, and breakfast is on the table. Same thing with dinner. Now I like to spend a little extra time in the evening because I have a little extra time. Sometimes I do my food prep at lunchtime and get it all done. And then dinner time, you just have to heat something up. Whatever works for you. But I want you to be able to not spend all of your mental or emotional or physical energy. Those are all connected, but we spend them a little bit differently on food choices. We have way too many things to think about every day. Why would you waste your time going, well, what do we eat today? Oh my God, I'm so tired. I can't think of anything healthy. Let's stop that right now, get ahead on our food prep, and then you can save that mental energy for something that you do enjoy, like spending time with your family or working on a project or doing a hobby or having free time, So I really encourage you to clamp down on wherever you're wasting time in the kitchen or wasting effort. There is a better way. And I encourage you to reach out to me, message me. If you're like, you know what, I just don't know what I can do to improve. Send me a quick message. I'm a great strategist and can help you figure out where you're bullshitting yourself and how to come up with a plan that's actually going to work for you. You know, what I've outlined here are some basic steps, but where do you implement those? How do you get them into your daily routine? So it's just part of what you do. It's not something that you have to worry about or think about. Get the meal prep off your plate, so to speak, right? So please message me. I am happy to guide you in any way that I can, or just offer a little bit of sane advice like, Mama, you don't have to be a gourmet cook every night for your 3 kids as a single mom. Get it done and get it over with, right? But enjoy it at the same time. It's possible. When I worked for that family for the 6 years that I was privileged enough to be part of their lives, I absolutely enjoyed every minute of it. It was a total blessing for me to be able to cook for them, to cook for anyone. It's, you know, a sign of love. And honestly, we are all seeking emotional and mental comfort through food. So why not make the process really easy so that when you do sit down, it's just a lovely event. I know that when I'm here by myself at home sometimes and I'm serving myself a lunch, when I actually sit down to, you know, have that lunch and I sit outside on my patio on a lovely spring afternoon, it's a wonderful thing. And I almost feel like I'm at my favorite bistro downtown. Little shout out to Cafe Fresco. I'll be back soon, right? And I hope that you'll all be back in my office sometime soon so that I can pour you a cup of tea and help you figure out how to improve your, you know, lifestyle, your daily routines, your well-being. I'm here for you. I miss you. I love you, and I'll be seeing you soon. So stay with me. Next week, I'm going to talk about the 4 mistakes you're making in your daily schedule. And once you get those ironed out, get your meal prep happening, you figure out how to incorporate some daily exercises into your work from home routine or whatever you're doing. Well, we're going to talk about how to amp up your and double your energy levels the week after that. Oh my goodness, nothing will stop you. And this is a great time to revamp all that. Springtime is wonderful for honing in on that energy. So I hope you join me next week. And until then, be well, and I will see you soon. Thanks for joining me.